Good afternoon. The time is 4:03. I'd like to call to order the December 16th meeting of the Board of Police, the Traffic Authority. We have a quorum with Commissioner Palladino, Commissioner Lopez, Commissioner Sumter, and Mayor Rilling. First item on the agenda is public participation. Is there anybody waiting to address the Traffic Authority?
Mayor.
Hearing none, I imagine there is nobody waiting to speak with the Traffic Authority. So we will move on to the acceptance of minutes. Item 1, the acceptance of the minutes of November 18th, 2024. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of the meeting of November.
Commissioner Sumter has made the motion to accept the November 18th minutes. Do we have any corrections, deletions, omissions?
I have none.
I have none.
I have none.
Seeing none, all in favor of accepting the minutes as submitted?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next, we have new business. Item 1, approve the Boston Build-Up 10K Sunday. I need somebody to move that forward for discussion.
Hearing none, I'll move it forward for a discussion. Boston
Okay.
Build-Up.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Sumter. Who's going to address this for the traffic department?
So we have the event organizer, Jim Gerwick. He should be on the public line. If we could elevate him.
He was,
Okay.
he just dropped off, so he is no longer here.
Oh, okay. All right. If he's still off, I can speak to it unless he jumps back on right now.
Is this something we've done in the past? And have we done this?
This is a recurring event, I believe. So this is a 10K road race in the Rowayton neighborhood. It's scheduled for Sunday, January 5th. And I believe that Mr. Gerwick has been in communication with the police department on some of the necessary arrangements that need to be made. I will let Chief Dino maybe speak to some of the communications that he may have had with Mr. Gerwick.
Good afternoon, everybody. I have not spoken directly with Mr. Gerwick, but this, Mayor, you are correct. This is a recurring event that happens every year, and it seems to occur without a problem. And we will be ready on time for this.
The thing I see here is the first leg of this is listed as Highland Avenue from Rowton Middle School. Okay, so it's going to start at Rowton Middle School.
That's correct.
Okay. Do we have any questions or comments or concerns from the authority?
Well, what is the timeline of the event?
So I believe this is set to begin at 9 a.m. And it should be wrapped up by around 10:30. The setup will have to begin about an hour before that at 8 a.m. So total probably 8 to 11 a.m. at latest.
And when we've done this in the past, is it the same route as we've used in the past?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Sumter, I think you.
Yeah, I noticed that you had a symbol here for the porta potties. And I guess since it was done before, really, I just wanted some clarification on the route that's being traveled and where I guess it starts. All right. The way it looks, the porta potties are near the end of the routes. Therefore, if they're in use or need to be used, they're there near the ends. as opposed to at the first, I guess, half of the race. There is none, but I guess since you've done this before, mine really was for clarification with regard to the locations of the porta potties.
Any other
So,
questions? I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, that's it.
Benjamin, just one question.
Yes.
The organizer knows that he's gonna have to hire several police officers. 'Cause I'm just going through this route and there's several key intersections that we're gonna have to cover.
Yeah, so let me follow up with the event organizer. He said that he was in contact.
Excuse me
with
one
the police.
second.
Yep,
Excuse me
I'm
one
here.
second. Mr. Gerwick, are you on?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yep. Go ahead.
All right, yeah, Chief Walsh, you can direct your question directly to Mr. Gerwick.
Mr. Gerwick, good afternoon. You realize for this event, you're gonna have to hire several extra work officers for traffic.
Yep, we always do. I think 4 or 5, yep.
Okay, Deputy Chief Dino will be in contact tomorrow to arrange this.
Yep,
Thank you.
I just have one question also.
Hmm.
How quickly after the event will the Porta John be removed?
we're not gonna have a porta john there. I don't think that's listed on the,
Uh,
Oh, okay. It says Porta John is listed on the Boston buildup on the top sheet. Matter of fact, it says Porta John right there. If you look right in the center of this
oh,
Boston
I don't know how
buildup.
that got there, because we've never used porta johns. We always, just utilize the school restrooms.
Okay,
So I'll have to go in and amend that. So the answer is, it won't be there.
Okay, that's a good answer.
okay. If that works for you.
I have a question, because I'm not maybe understanding on the application, or I should say on where it says police department not yet reviewed, public works not yet reviewed, transportation, mobility, parking under review. Is any of that relevant? What does that mean?
So these are screenshots from our e-approval system. This is just taking a snip of the special events permit status
Okay,
that this also has. So the your approval, the traffic authority approval is part of our traffic mobility and parking review,
Okay, I will. Yeah, no, absolutely.
in addition to other departments' review such as DPW and the police.
okay, so just disregard that. Got it.
So as we move this forward, we should move it forward contingent, approval contingent upon all the final reviews and satisfaction of the individual departments.
Yep.
When will that happen with regard to the January the 5th? Yes, it is.
Mhm.
Got it.
Hopefully within the next week or so.
Okay. When you say hopefully, what does that mean?
Well, I mean, it always has.
Oh, okay.
So,
So long as the city and the chief, if they're
yeah, I
fine
mean,
with it.
basically the main person is, or people or department is police, and making sure, that and they've been on board for the last, I don't know, 15, 20 years in terms of providing support personnel
Mhm.
for traffic. So I don't anticipate that it would be any different this year.
Okay. My question had to do with you having approval by the departments that need to, like Public Works and everything, around the holidays. I didn't know, because when you said hopefully, I know you've done it before. I'm not familiar with it, and as a commissioner, that's why I questioned how this is done, the procedure with regard to approvals.
Well, everything's, fortunately, the city has created the online
Uh-huh.
applications so that it just passes through to them. So, I would anticipate this week getting, sign offs on almost all the departments. It's
Okay,
pretty
so,
much pro forma for most of them.
okay, so the wheels are in motion.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay,
And as the mayor said, it's just contingent upon the reviews and acceptance. Am I right, Mayor?
Correct.
Okay.
Any further discussion?
I have
none.
none.
Commissioner Sumter, would you modify your motion to include the approval of the, yeah,
Okay, my motion is modified with the approval of the departments, the city departments, prior to the race of the Boston 10K, pre-K.
Should the departments be enumerated for the record?
Okay.
Well, I
we could
think,
do
I think the way that
Public
the
Works.
permit process is set up, all the departments have to sign off, have to approve it before the city will issue a permit. So that kind of goes without saying. If all the
Yeah.
departments don't sign off, there's no permit issued. So
If I may add, the special events permit process that is seen here, this is standard for say all road races, even all special events that the city runs themselves. So typically, for things like that were recently approved, such as the Wall Street Holiday Extravaganza, it went through this exact same process. But in that particular case, we did not have, this sort of contingent approval. But if you guys would wish to implement that in this case, we can, we can make amends.
Okay, then the motion would include the approval of the police department, public works department, and what other departments are they?
that would be TMP, Transportation, Mobility,
Okay,
and
and
Parking.
the transportation mobility parking be a part of the motion approval for the Boston build-up 10K in the Rowayton, Connecticut.
Okay, any further discussion or questions or comments?
Mr. Mayor, I just checked into our, my apologies, our online permit system at City Hall. And last year, they required the hiring of 5 police officers, and there's a listing of their traffic duties and exact locations. And most of the time, from year to year, there's very little variation. So once and if the Traffic Commission authorizes said event, then the police department, the organizer, and roll call staffing will go ahead and staff those locations for the event.
right.
Okay. Thank you, Assistant Chief Deneau, Deputy Chief Deneau. So
Yes, sir.
any further discussion or comment?
I have no further
I have
discussion.
none,
I have none.
Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
All right.
Next brings us to item number
Thank you, gentlemen.
B2. Thank you. Item B2, I'll need a motion on that.
I'll motion to bring that forward.
Okay, so that's the approve the conversion of Laura Street and Austin Street to one-way. Who's going to handle this for the department?
Mr. Mayor, I will be speaking on that.
Okay,
All right, so the South Norwalk Elementary School is currently under construction near this location. It's going to be at Meadow Street and South Main Street. So just over half a mile from where this proposed one-way conversion is. So the majority of the students for this new elementary school are going to be within walking distance. So TMP has been tasked with building out a well-connected pedestrian sidewalk network in this area. We've been successful in securing a good amount of ARPA funding and grants funding for the construction of these sidewalks. One of the locations that was lacking was along Laura Street and Austin Street. So these are local pretty residential streets. However, they didn't have any sidewalks, or they were disconnected at a certain point. So we wanted to build sidewalks here. However, on our walkthrough, we noticed that there's also a very high on-street parking demand on both these streets, on both sides of the street, and that we have limited right-of-way. So we have limited space to expand or extend anything. So our solution was to convert these currently two-way streets into one-way streets for certain segments, so that we would be able to accommodate the sidewalks and keep on-street parking. So, you know, we did this because we were listening to and advocating for the community here. We, you know, we wanted to make sure that their needs were met, and on-street parking was very important to them. So even though we do like two-way streets and we want to keep them as much as possible, in this case, in a very limited fashion, we are converting these two-way streets to one-way streets. There has been a significant amount of public engagement. Earlier this summer, we held a public meeting at a church nearby on Lexington, and we had, I think, 15 people or so come out. We also had and notices were given out in English and Spanish for this public meeting. We also had a number of conversations with the affected property owners on these streets. And so far, we have not encountered any opposition. We've spoken to the Common Council members for this area, and they are also in support. So, so this solution should be able to help us maintain emergency access through this area. In terms of, you know, the amount of traffic that's going to be diverted, it shouldn't be too high. We completed the traffic study for this, and because these are relatively low volume local residential streets, the amount of traffic that was, you know, used to come up northbound on Laura, which would then be diverted to Lexington, is not overwhelming. So to recap, what we're proposing here is to build out a sidewalk network on Laura Street and Austin Street. And to do so, we do need to convert a short segment of these two streets to one way. So it's going to be one way from basically Ely Avenue here down to Austin Street on Laura. And then it's going to be one way on Austin Street up to Snowden Street. So you'll notice that in the map here, there's a small cul-de-sac, which is very close to this street right here, which is Lexington Ave. Those residents will have direct access from Lexington. So that small section will remain as a two-way street. So there's a lot here. I'd be happy to take your questions as you process it. If you need any clarifications, feel free to ask.
Yeah, Mr. Young, you indicated that that they'll be diverted to Lexington. So in other words, if someone decides to, you know, go back that street, they're going back up Martin Luther King or Lexington, which you mentioned Lexington. I wasn't sure if you finished that thought.
Yeah, no, it would be Lexington. So if someone lived on Laura, hopefully you can see the map here somewhat clearly.
Yep.
So say they lived at 10 Laura Street right here.
Right.
So in this proposed condition, they would have to exit out of their home, come south on Laura Street.
Yep.
And Austin Street is also one way. So they would have to turn down Austin, and at the end of Austin is Lexington. So then they would return north via Lexington.
Got it. So they will go back up north to come back down.
And then, yeah, and then once they get to the top of Lexington, they could make some turns to get to MLK or to South Main Street, for example. So
You also mentioned that you were going to add sidewalks to that area?
yep,
Or
that is
are there
the,
sidewalks there now?
so there's sidewalks on certain portions, but in the sections that we're proposing this street direction conversion, there's currently none. So we're adding sidewalks, we're adding corner bump out extensions, which will make the crosswalk shorter and safer for pedestrians to cross at. So again, there's going to be a lot of students for the new elementary school in this area. And because there's not too much distance between here and the school, the only ways they could get to the school would be either by car or by walking. And to, you know, help give them options and to, of course, promote the Complete Streets philosophy, which we recently enacted, we want to build out this well-connected sidewalk network so that kids and their parents do have that option to walk to school.
When the sidewalks are added on, I'm looking mostly on Laura Street, will you have sidewalks on both sides?
Yes, that's correct.
Oh, okay.
And so we'll have sidewalks on both sides and also maintain parking on both sides. So yeah, the only caveat with that, of course, is that now we're narrowing the travel lane and we won't be able to fit two-way traffic. Now we'll just have one-way traffic.
I just have two comments. One, it's critically important that we notify, if you haven't already, EMS and fire departments so they know about this change.
Yes.
If they get a call to go and they try to come in from Lexington, they're going to find that it's a one-way street. The second one is, as you're allowing parking on both sides, I think we need to make sure that the ambulance and the fire units can get through there. Because a lot of times when there's parking on both sides, you're going to have Laura Street is narrow to begin with. So when you have parking on both sides and the sidewalks, we need to make sure that fire apparatus and the ambulance can get through.
Yes. So I believe we have already started the conversation with emergency services, but definitely before we actually implement the signage and directional changes, we will notify them well in advance again. As far as the width between the parked cars, we're expecting to have at minimum a 14-foot travel lane, which is has been designed to be more than enough for a fire truck to traverse.
Is that also a school bus route?
There may be some school buses from other schools that stop here. And my expectation is that if it works for a fire truck, it'll work for school buses. And in fact, I believe that the one-way operation will actually be a little bit more smooth than the current configuration, which is two-way traffic, and often on Laura Street, there's barely enough room now to pass a large vehicle, going two-way. So converting this to one-way should actually make, bus and fire truck travel, if needed, a little bit simpler and safer.
Now, when you make those changes at the end of the street, since that used to be a two-way, and my thoughts now had to do with people thinking it's still a two-way, trying to turn up there, and those do not enter. Mostly the challenges has always been on I-95 or getting on and off to I-95. But within the city itself, I'm certain you'll figure out how to solve that problem, whether it be with do not enter signs or something.
For sure, we will have do not enter signs. And I wanted to give you all a little preview of the design at the end of the one-way configuration. So it's going to be one way down Laura Street southbound and then east on Austin Street up till you get to this point here. If you can see this curb, it actually extends way out into the street here. So this is Lexington on the right side here. So if you were turning from Lexington down Austin, you could still access Snowden Street, which the residents there will be happy about and be legally able to do. However, you'll notice that if you're, if you wanted to continue straight on Austin, you encounter this very large curb extension, and that curb extension will have a big do not enter sign on it. So it will be right in the middle of your basically path of vision. And it'll be very obvious that that the section of Austin past that would be one way, the other direction. So it should work well to deter any accidental drivers going the wrong way.
Okay.
Can you take me to the end of Laura Street when you're making a left on Austin? Because I can't see the picture completely. On the actual color, on the actual picture, on the real live picture, where you have the end of Laura Street meeting Austin, what's to the right of Laura? I just can't see it.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, the map is a little cut off there.
Right.
I can pull up.
I'm just trying to understand, make sense of what that is there.
Yeah, hold on. Let me pull up a little map version here of that.
And if you could speak to that in relation to, what happens.
Okay. So can you all see this? This is a Google Maps
Yes.
version. So this is Laura Street right down the middle here, and it terminates at Austin Street. So Austin Street, there is a little section just west of that, but that is already one way going eastbound in the same direction that is proposed down here. So it's going to be one way eastbound all the way from this end here at Ely Avenue to Snowden Street. So it's already one way right here, because if you look at it, it's
I see.
it's basically an alley. So this is one way going towards the camera here, and then it would continue one way going down that hill.
Got it. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Any further comment or discussion?
I have
Seeing none.
none.
All in favor?
So I just want to for the record, I just want to make a small amendment. So on the item list, it had said proposed one-way conversion of Austin Street from Laura Street to Lexington Avenue. For the record, that should read Laura Street to Snowden Street. So that's what I've been describing. So I just want to make that clear for the record.
Yeah, I think Snowden Street being dead end cannot be one way, so. All right, so noted. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is item number C3. I need somebody to move that.
So move, Mayor.
Okay. That's to approve the OSTA traffic letter for reduction from 30 to 25 in the Laura and Austin Street neighborhood. Mr. Young, I guess you're going to handle that as well.
This will actually be my colleague, Nate Fancandle.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. So really just piggybacking Ben here, this is the same neighborhood that you just mentioned for the new sidewalks. In conjunction with that sidewalk project, we're also going to be requesting a reduction in speed limit from 30 miles an hour to 25 in an effort to lower speeds, considering that we're going to have more student pedestrian traffic walking down to the school. It's more than just the Laura Street and Austin Street that we'll be requesting. It's really the whole neighborhood, including Lexington, Knapp Street, Oxford Street, and Meadow Street Extension. Those are all currently 30-mile-an-hour roads, and we're going to be requesting that they be reduced to 25 miles an hour.
All you're looking for is authority to send the letter to the state of Connecticut requesting that.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah. Any comments or questions from the commission, the authority or the commission?
I have none.
I have none.
I have none.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. I need a motion to adjourn. I think that's it.
So move.
Motion to adjourn at 4:33.
Thank you,
So-
Commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are adjourned. Okay, now since we have a quorum, I'd like to, we go live on the, well, we have to get off and go on the police department.
See you on the other side.
Okay.